guys, in this video lecture we will discuss about the beta oxidation of fatty acid. But before define what is beta oxidation, we must know about why the oxidation of fatty acid it is important. As we know that lipids are called as fuel reserve of our bodies. Now these lipids are basically stored in our body in the form of triglycerides. Now this triglyceride it is basically the most abundant lipid in our body, that is triglycerides. Now when the breakdown of this triglyceride it is occurs, so it will produce the fatty acid. So normally fatty acid it will produce from the breakdown of the triglycerides. So when there is deficient intake of glucose, so here the fatty acid it is oxidized by many tissue of our bodies. So from the oxidation of this fatty acid we will get a lot of energies. So this energy we will use in our daily activities. About the oxidation of fatty acid, it will produce 3 times more energy than the oxidation of carbohydrate and proteins. So that's why the oxidation of fatty acid it is important to know about the oxidation of fatty acids. Now the fatty acid it is oxidized through various oxidations. So there are the various type of oxidation of fatty acid occurs. The first one that is alpha oxidations, the second one that is beta oxidation, the third one that is omega oxidations. The most important oxidation of fatty acid that is the beta oxidation. Now we will discuss about what the beta oxidation of fatty acids. So first, what is fatty acid? So fatty acid it is basically a long chain of hydrocarbon that possesses a carboxylic acid groups. So this is basically the carboxylic acid groups. So this is the generalized structure of fatty acid. So right at the carboxylic acid group, the carbon that is present near to the carboxylic acid group, this carbon it is called as alpha carbons, while the carbon that is present near to this alpha carbon it is called as beta carbons. So here's the oxidation right occur at the beta carbon, so that's why it is called as beta oxidation. And oxidation simply means the removal of hydrogen. So the removal of hydrogen it will occur right at the beta carbon, so that's why it is called as beta oxidation of the fatty acids. Now we will properly define what the beta oxidation is. Now look at the definition of beta oxidation of fatty acids. So this is actually the oxidation of fatty acid on the beta carbon atom. This is called as beta oxidation. So normally oxidation it is the removal of hydrogen. So this removal of hydrogen and the fatty acid it is occur rightly on the beta carbon atoms. So that's why it is called as beta oxidation. So this is the definition of beta oxidation of fatty acids. Now we will discuss about the discovery of the beta oxidation of fatty acids. So the beta oxidation it was discovered for the first time by a German scientist, that is Freihof, in 1940. So he for the first time discovered this type of the oxidation of the fatty acids. So if we talk about the location where this beta oxidation of the fatty acid occur in our body, so rightly most of the tissue in our body they will utilize or oxidize this fatty acid to fulfill their energy requirements. So the best known that is liver and adipose tissue, they will undergo beta oxidation of the fatty acids. But here the exception it is present. The exception that is the erythrocyte and adrenal medulla. So these two locations are structures that are unable to utilize fatty acid for their energy requirements. Now if we talk about the beta oxidation in a cell, so where this beta oxidation of fatty acid occur right at the cell levels. So this type of the beta oxidation that is rightly occur in the cytosol, and partly the overall beta oxidation it will occur rightly at the mitochondrial matrix. So this beta oxidation that we will discuss later, that it mainly occur in 3 stages. So the activation of this fatty acid occur right at the cytosol, while the overall beta oxidation it is mainly occur in the mitochondrial matrix. So when complete beta oxidation of the fatty acid occurs, so the final product of this beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is mainly the two compound, and these two compound mainly possess the two carbons. So the final product of this beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is acetyl coenzyme A and acyl coenzyme A. So in these two products that are formed in the result of the beta oxidation of fatty acids. Now this acyl coenzyme A, this compound, it is again entered to the beta oxidation of fatty acid, while this compound, that is acetyl coenzyme A, this is actually a two carbon compound. Now this acetyl coenzyme A, it will enter into the Krebs cycle or TCA cycle. Now when the complete oxidation of this acetyl coenzyme A, it will give us ATPs. So that's why the oxidation of fatty acid, that will give us energy through the formation of acetyl coenzyme A, and this acetyl coenzyme A, this will enter into the Krebs cycle, and then this acetyl coenzyme A, it will give us energy. Now we will see here's the overall beta oxidation process. Now this beta oxidation of fatty acid, it is occur in three stages. The first stage and the beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is activation of fatty acid and the cytosols. So when the triglyceride that are break down, it will form this fatty acid. Now this fatty acid right at the cytosol, it is activated. So the first step and the beta oxidation, that is the activation of fatty acid and the cytosol. The second step and the beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is transport of fatty acid to the mitochondria. When and the first step, the fatty acid, it is activated. Now this activated fatty acid, it is transported to the mitochondria. Now what is the third stage and the beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is the beta oxidation process and mitochondrial matrix. So the overall process of the beta oxidation of fatty acid, it is rightly occur in the mitochondria. Now we will discuss each stage of the beta oxidation of fatty acid in detail. The first one, that is activation of fatty acids. Now this fatty acid, it is actually present right at the cytosol. Now when this fatty acid, it is actually adenosine monophosphate, it is added to this fatty acids. So here this adenosine monophosphate, it will come from the ATP. So right it here the ATP, it is breakdowns. Now this breakdown of ATP, it occur in such a way, so it will form pyrophosphate along with adenosine monophosphate AMP. Now this AMP, it will attach with this fatty acid. Now the fatty acid, after the attachment of this AMP, it will convert it into the acyl adenylate. So this reaction mainly catalyzed by the thiokinase enzyme. So you can see here the structure representation of these reactions. So this is actually the generalized structure of the fatty acids. So when the breakdown of ATP occurs, so it will form pyrophosphate along with its AMP. It is formed from the breakdown of the ATP. Now here this AMP, adenosine monophosphate, it will attach with hairs. So right it the hydroxyl group, this AMP, it is attached. Now the structure that is formed from the addition, from the attachment of this AMP, now it will form the structure such like this. So this structure, it is called as acyl adenylate. Now the pyrophosphate, it is acted by phosphatase enzyme. Now this pyrophosphate, it is converted into the phosphates. Now what happened to this acyl adenylates? So here's the AMP, it is removed from the acyl adenylates. So here's after the removal of AMP, the coenzyme A group, it is attached here. Now after the attachment of coenzyme A group, the acyl adenylate, it is converted into the acyl coenzyme A. Now this acyl coenzyme A, it is called as activated fatty acids. So here's this AMP, it is removed, while in the place of this AMP, the coenzyme A, it is attached. So finally this is the structure of the acyl coenzyme A. Now this activated fatty acid acyl, that is acyl coenzyme A, it is transported across the mitochondrial membranes. Now the next stage in the beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is the transport of acyl coenzyme A into the mitochondria. Now this acyl coenzyme A, it is actually the activated fatty acids. Now the mitochondrial membrane, it is basically impermeable to these fatty acids. Now look at this is actually so how this acyl coenzyme A, it is transported into the mitochondria. So here's a specific carnitine shuttle, it is operated through which this acyl coenzyme A, it is transported into the mitochondrial matrix. Now this is actually the cytosol. So here this is the inner mitochondrial membrane, while this is the mitochondrial matrix. Now right at the cytosol, the acyl coenzyme A, it is present. So here's this oral transport, it is occur in four step. So in the first step, right, so this acyl coenzyme A, here's the acyl group, it is transported to the carnitine that is mainly present in the cytosols. So when this carnitine, it will accept this acyl group. So here's its carnitine, it is converted into the acyl carnitine. So here's the enzyme that is mainly present on the outer surface of the inner membrane, that is carnitine palmitoyl transferase 1. So this enzyme basically it will remove the acyl group from the acyl coenzyme A and will attach this acyl group to the carnitine. As a result, we will get the acyl carnitine. So here one coenzyme A, it is released. Now right in the second step, the acyl carnitine, it is transported to the specific protein present in the inner mitochondrial membrane, due to which this acyl carnitine, it is transported into the mitochondria. Now what happened to this acyl carnitine? So right at the third step, this carnitine, it is converted into again into acyl coenzyme A and carnitine, but this reaction, it is catalyzed by the enzyme that is carnitine palmitoyl transferase 2. Now this enzyme, it is actually present in the inner site of the inner mitochondrial membranes. Now this enzyme, it is basically it will remove carnitine from the acyl carnitine and will attach the coenzyme A with the acyl group, due to which we will get the acyl coenzyme A and carnitine. So the finally we will transported the acyl coenzyme A into the mitochondria. So this carnitine, it is again move out to the cytosol because of its permeability. So mitochondrial inner membrane, it is completely permeable to this carnitine. Now this carnitine, it is again smooth through specific protein present and the inner mitochondrial membrane, and it will give out into the cytosol, where this carnitine, it will again enter another fatty acid into the mitochondrial membrane. So this and the third step of the fatty acid, here the proper oxidation, a proper reaction of beta oxidation occur in the mitochondrial matrix. Now the third stage and the beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is the beta oxidation proper process. Now this beta oxidation, it is mainly occur in the mitochondrial matrix. Now the enzyme that are responsible for the beta oxidation of fatty acid, that is called as fatty acid oxidase system. Now this enzyme, it is actually oxidize this acyl coenzyme A, but here this overall process occur in four steps. Now here these are the four steps through which the oxidation of acyl coenzyme A occurs. The first one, that is oxidation, the second one, that is hydration, the third one again oxidation, and the fourth one, that is the cleavage. Now the acyl coenzyme A, it is mainly transported into the mitochondria. So right at the mitochondrial matrix, the acyl coenzyme A, it is present. Now what happens in the mitochondrial matrix? The first step, that is oxidation. So here the oxidation or dehydrogenation of the acyl coenzyme A occurs. Now this dehydrogenation or removal of hydrogen, this is called as oxidation. Now this removal of hydrogen, it is occur right at the beta carbon. So here the hydrogen, it is removed, but this reaction, the hydrogen that is removed from the beta carbon of the acyl coenzyme A, it will take by the oxidized coenzyme A, that is FAD. Now after taking this hydrogen by the FAD, it is converted into the FADH2. Now this is actually the reduced coenzyme A. It will go or it will move to the electron transport chain, where through oxidative phosphorylation it will produce some ATP, one molecule of the FADH2, it is able to produce 1.5 ATP. Now here the enzyme that catalyzes this reaction, that is called as acyl coenzyme A dehydrogenase enzyme. So this is an enzyme, it is basically remove the hydrogen from the beta carbon of the acyl coenzyme A. So this is actually the first step, that is the oxidation. Now what happened in the second step? So finally in the first step we will get the compound, that is trans-enoyl coenzyme A compounds. Now what happened in the second step? So the second step, that is basically the hydrations. So hydration means addition of waters. So what happened in the second step? The trans-enoyl coenzyme A that is formed as the result of the oxidation of the acyl coenzyme A. Now here, as the name indicate, hydration, so here the water molecule it is added. Now enoyl coenzyme A hydratase enzyme, so this is an enzyme, it is basically add water molecule to the trans enoyl coenzyme A. Now what happen after the addition of this water molecules? Now this water molecule it is basically attached here. So here is after the removal of hydrogen, the double bond it is introduced. Now this water molecule it is added to these carbons. Now the carbon, the double bond that is mainly present at the alpha and beta carbons. So here the OH part of the water molecule it is added with the beta carbons, while the hydrogen of this water molecule it is added with the alpha carbons. So finally we will get this compound. Now this compound it is basically called as beta hydroxyacyl coenzyme A. So right in the beta carbon hydroxyl group it is present, so that's why it is called as beta hydroxyacyl coenzyme A. So this is actually the second step in the beta oxidation. Now what happened in the third step? So third step it is again oxidation, mean and the third step again hydrogen it is removed. So the beta hydroxyacyl coenzyme A, so here's right in the beta carbon, this hydrogen atom it is removed. This after the removal of this hydrogen atom, now this hydrogen atom it is again taken by the oxidized NAD posito. Now after taking the hydrogen by the NAD, now this NAD it is converted into the NADH plus H. So this is the reduced coenzyme. Now this enzyme mainly catalyzed by the beta hydroxyacyl coenzyme A dehydrogenase enzyme. Now this NADH it will again move to the electron transport chain. Through oxidative phosphorylation, one molecule of the NADH plus H it will able to produce 2.5 ATP. So finally in the second oxidation of this step we will get the beta ketoacyl coenzyme A. So right at the beta carbons the keto group it is present, so that's why it is called as beta ketoacyl coenzyme A. Now what happened to this beta ketoacyl coenzyme A? So finally the last step in the beta oxidation, that is cleavage. Now here the cleavage of this beta ketoacyl coenzyme A occurs. Now this enzyme it is mainly catalyzed by the thiolase enzyme. Now this thiolase enzyme here's the breakdown of this beta ketoacyl coenzyme A occurs. So one coenzyme A it is again enters. So one coenzyme A it is enter in these steps. So here's finally after the addition of this coenzyme A, this beta ketoacyl coenzyme A it is breakdowns. Now after the breakdown of the beta ketoacyl coenzyme A we will get two compounds. The first one that is acyl coenzyme A, while the second one that is the acetyl coenzyme A. Now this acetyl coenzyme A it will enter into the Krebs cycle and then will produce energy. Now what happened to this acyl coenzyme A? So finally the first product that is acyl coenzyme A, while the final product also the acyl coenzyme A. What is the difference between this acyl coenzyme A and the first initial one, that is acyl coenzyme A? So actually this acyl coenzyme A it have two carbon less than the original acyl coenzyme A. So finally this acyl coenzyme A it will re-enter to the beta oxidation process. until the complete oxidation of this fatty acid occurs. So this process, it is continuous. So this is the overall process how the beta oxidation occurs. So mainly three steps are involved in the beta oxidation of fatty acid. The first one, that is activation of fatty acid. The second one, that is transport of acyl coenzyme A into the mitochondria, while the third one, that is beta oxidation proffers. So this is the overall process how the beta oxidation occurs. So what is the energetic of beta oxidation? It means that how many ATP that are produced from the beta oxidation of fatty acids. Now if we look to the overall beta oxidation process, so here's three important products are produced in the beta oxidation of fatty acid. The first one, that is the acetyl coenzyme A. The second one, that is FADH2. The third one, that is NADH plus H. So these are the products that are mainly produced in the beta oxidation of fatty acids. So one acetyl coenzyme A, one FAD and one NADH plus H, these are produced and one process or one cycle of the beta oxidation. So here one acetyl coenzyme A through the Krebs cycle, it will able to produce the 10 ATP. So one FADH2 that are mainly produced in each beta oxidation process. So this one FADH2 through electron transport chain, it will produce 1.5 ATP, while 1 mole or 1 molecule of the NADH plus H, it will able to produce 2 through electron transport chain, it will able to produce 2.5 ATP. But here this is the overall energetic of the beta oxidation. But here the beta oxidation of fatty acid, it will use for the palmitic acids. So this is in fatty acids. So the beta oxy and the right in the beta oxidation of fatty acid, this palmitic acid, it is used. Now if we look to the structure of this palmitic acid, so this palmitic acid, it mainly possesses the 16 carbons. So this is a 16 carbon compounds. So when beta oxidation of this 16 carbon compound occurs, so this is actually the activated palmitic acid. So palmitoyl coenzyme A, it will finally get the 8 molecule of the acetyl coenzyme A. So here 7 cycle of the beta oxidation occurs. Now through these 7 cycle, and each cycle one FADH2 molecule is produced and one NADH plus H molecule is produced. But here the 7 cycle occurs, so 7 FADH2 and 7 NADH plus H, they are produced in these cycles. So complete beta oxidation of this palmitoyl coenzyme A occurs, so it will give us 8 molecule of the acetyl coenzyme A. Now what happens? So here's the 7 cycle occur, then 8 acetyl coenzyme A are produced. So basically this acetyl coenzyme A, it is a 2 carbon compounds. So here's the palmitic acid is a 16 carbon compound. So if we multiply this 2 carbon compound and actually they are produced 8 molecule, so it will give us again 16 carbon compound, and this 16 carbon compound is basically the palmitoyl coenzyme A. So here's these product that are produced in the beta oxidation of palmitic acid. So finally 8 molecule of the acetyl coenzyme A is produced in the beta oxidation of palmitic acid or palmitoyl coenzyme A, while 7 FADH2 and 7 NADH, they are produced through the beta oxidation of fatty acids. Now we will calculate how many ATP are produced through beta oxidation of this palmitic acids. Now here 8 molecule of acetyl coenzyme A are produced in the beta oxidation of palmitic acids. So one acetyl coenzyme A through Krebs cycle, it will able to produce 10 ATP. But here 8 molecules are produced in the beta oxidation of palmitic acid. So simply 10 is multiplied with the 8. So finally we will get the 80 ATP. Now the second one, that is S7FADH2. So as we have studied here, so one molecule of FADH2, it will able through electron transport chain, it will able to 1.5 ATP. So here 7 molecule of the FADH2, they are produced. So simply you have to multiply this 2.5 ATP with the 7. So finally the 17.5 ATP are produced. Now NAD, 7 molecule of the 7 molecule of NADH2 they are produced in the beta oxidation of aromatic acids. So 1 molecule of NADH through electron transport chain, it will produce 1.5 ATP, but here the 7 molecule are produced, so simply you can multiply this 7 with the 1.7 ATP. So finally we will get the 10.5 ATP are produced. So if we add this all ATP that are produced in the beta oxidation of aromatic acid, so finally we will get this 108 ATP are produced in the beta oxidation of aromatic acid. But here 2 ATP are actually utilized for the activation of the palmitoyl coenzyme A. So simply you can minus this 2 ATP from the 108 ATP. So finally from the beta oxidation of 1 molecule of aromatic acid, we will get the 108 ATP are produced. So this is overall the beta oxidation process and its energetics. Thank you so much.